Welcome back to another on the Recipe and to another edition of Raw Out of 10. It's a big show today because it is the last Raw before Backlash. That's come around quickly since WrestleMania, and yeah, we've got a lot on the show today. We've got a contract signing between Fatu and Roman Reigns and a few other segments, a match of the one, including Finn Balor versus JD McDonagh. So without further ado, let's get straight into things. And moments after a face-to-face altercation with Roman, Seth Rollins entered the ring to a thunderous ovation, only to be attacked from behind by Bron Breakker, who badly assaulted the Architect, dropping him face first into the barricade, then sending him shoulder first into the ring steps. Breakker assaulted security before being backed off and up the ramp by Raw GM Adam Pearce. Not finished with Rollins, he pushed past security and destroyed his fallen mentor with a spear. The heel stood tall, talked trash to Rollins and made his way to the ramp to close things off. Going my way, Rollins told Reigns in a brief kind of face-to-face. That definitely hints at a future match, and I'm here for it. But yeah, Breakker looked like a killer here, really tearing through Rollins. So yeah, I don't know, Rollins may go over on Sunday, but I feel like Breakker, the future's still very good for him. Before backstage, Liv Morgan grilled Roxanne Perez about how Balor got into the Judgment Day clubhouse and why she was talking. An apology pledged her allegiance to the faction before Morgan tapped her and Raquel Rodriguez to win the women's tag titles, as long as there's no more secrets. In the arena, Balor squared off with McDonagh for the second time in 2 weeks. The inaugural Universal Champ dominated early, but interference from Dom turned the tide for JD just in time for Perez to make her presence felt, entering during the break. Balor fought his way into the match, overcoming an ugly Spanish fly and appeared poised to with a coup de grace until Mysterio crouched him on the top rope. With Jessica kicked Mysterio up, but the numbers game proved too much. Morgan tossed Perez the timekeeper's hammer and the Prodigy utilised it, setting a headbutt up for McDonagh to win. I don't know, it was over, but it made sense within the context of the match. Good win for McDonagh, still question marks over Perez, and I think, you know, Balor still's got question marks. It's going to lead to Perez v Morgan down the line, which I'm in favour of. Before we then got Penta and Siobhan Evans versus Ethan Page and Rusev, but before that, backstage, Paul Heyman informed the Vision that Austin will fight Hendry later on today. But yeah, a back and forth tag match here saw Penta escape Page's twisted grin, only to deliver a Penta driver, but failed to keep the former NXT champ down for free ahead of the break. Back from the timeout, Penta created separation and was inches away from a hot tag when Rusev pulled Evans off the apron. With no partner to tag, Penta found himself on the receiving end of a beatdown at the end of the heels. The champ finally tagged the young OG in, and the Evans exploded into the match, soaring through the air as he took the fight to the opposition. The action broke down from there, where Evans teasing a huge leap of face, only for Page to send him to the floor. Elsewhere, Rusev delivered a urinal on Penta onto the Undertaker, and All Ego pinned the luchador for the win. It was a fun action match. Page continues to look like a star. Rusev's rejuvenated, and I think, you know, it's pretty strong mid-card division at the moment. You know, we like the risk that Evans takes, etc., etc. And overall, I think, yeah, this was just pretty strong. I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. Next up, Sol Ruka joined Raw GM Adam Pearce in the ring to sign her main roster contract. Before she could pen to paper, Becky Lynch interrupted, spoiling her big moment confronting Pearce. Ruka cut off her ramblings and called her a big-headed bitch. Before signing her name on the dotted line, she threatened big-time Bex, warning that if she ever interrupts her again, she will not only kick her ass but also snatch her soul. Lynch tried a sneak attack but clocked Pearce, then ate a less than stellar soul snatcher for a newcomer that stood tall. There's not many better ways to introduce her than I think Becky Lynch is. The soul snatcher didn't quite go right, but I mean, it's still a huge moment for her, and I think putting her straight into a feud with Becky, I think kind of really shows the faith they have in her. Before we got an irate Logan Paul interrupting Joe Hendry's fire Logan Paul's film, and Hendry squared off with Austin Theory. A standard match that saw Hendry fair off Theory, only for Paul to interfere during a DQ. The Street Profits made this open, fought out the heels, only for Bron Breakker to appear and take Seth Rollins out. So yeah, pretty crazy. But I mean, less about the match and more about the participants. It was repetitive and didn't really do much to improve the show, but I still think, you know, Hendry's really over with the crowd. And yeah, I'm intrigued to see where this Vision stuff goes, let's say. So yeah, overall, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Before we got an open challenge from Obafemi, what at first appears to be Akira Tozawa answering Femi's open challenge. Instead, we saw Otis step up. And fresh off his dominant Brock victory, Femi tossed the Olympic powerlifter around the ring. From there, he positioned himself on the ropes and delivered a massive fall from grace for a short, sweet victory. Obafemi is becoming a phenomenon in the business, and Corey Gray said on commentary to put over his easy win. And yeah, this is going to get an 8 out of 10 for me. I like what they're doing with Obafemi at the moment, just making him look absolutely dominant. He's most physically impressive roster. To be honest, he should go on a long streak like this. And yeah, I think Otis did a good job of kind of selling his role in this. So yeah, it works all round, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Before we then got the tag team match between Los Americanos versus El Grande Americano and the Creed brothers. And yeah, Ahead of the Mars v Mars match in AAA at Not Just Dos Grandes, Americano battled with Bravo and Rio to battle OG and the Creed brothers. And yeah, it was a big trio match in which the Creeds dominated early. The action-packed six-man tag saw all combatants shine late, delivering a signature move, culminating in a big splash from Rio to OG, but kept him for a man down from Roman or two. Moments later, the OG laid out Rio to score the win for his team with a diving headbutt. Yeah, I don't know, the feud just can't really end soon enough. The match was okay, but it was overbooked in a way, and yeah, I just think we've kind of had enough of this sort of stuff now. 6 out of 10. Before Roman Reigns was sat at the head of the table talking to Jacob Fatu ahead of their match at Backlash, and took exception to the disrespect shown to him, and he claimed to have brought the Samoan Werewolf into the company by way of bringing in Solo. Fatu reiterated the motivation for targeting Reigns, then broke out the same Tongan death grip that he used last week to leave the OTC lying this week. He signed a contract to close the show, and yeah, overall, this felt like a segment that existed for the sake of having one. No real developments. The universe in the crowd were also tone deaf, treating Reigns like he's a babyface in a narrative. Fatu doesn't really stand a chance of winning this weekend, but at the same time, like I say, it's still good to see him as a top guy. So yeah, overall, I'm going to 5 out of 10. And this was a solid show overall, even if the main event segment didn't really deliver as hoped. Everything leading up to the contract signing was great, strong in-ring action, and of course another impressive showing for Oberfemi. A focused, intense show from WWE Creative. Gets this one a 7 out of 10 ahead of what's looking like an intriguing pay-per-view this weekend.
That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.